Welcome back. So now that the transmission build is complete for the 4L80 with the Jake Stage 5 kit in it, next thing I'm going to be doing is working on the shifter for the car. I have a stock 5th gen shifter that could be modified for working with a 4L80 from the 6-speed autos that came with these cars. I also have a TCM and wiring harness that needs to go in the car, and I have to wire that up and make it play nice with the factory ECM in the car. So I'm going to start with the shifter and go from there. So here's a stock shifter out of a SS Camaro that had a 6-speed. So what I need to do on this one to make it work is, the first thing I got to do is disable the shifter lockout. This is basically allowing me to shift it into drive or out of park without the car running, kind of like a manual, that regular one. So I'm going to eliminate that. Also have to start making some gates and modifying the back end of the shifter so that it can go from, instead of just drive and manual, I can be able to go drive, third, second, first, be able to pull it all the way back. So this needs to be notched out, and I'll also have to notch this gate out here on the shifter itself. So I'm going to start with disabling the reverse lockout. I may keep this micro switch, I probably will, so that I can activate my cameras when it's in reverse. We'll see. So yeah, I'll start working on removing the reverse or the park lockout and modifying the shifter. So after much modification of the gate itself, here especially, and at the back, so you got to open this up and remove basically this back wall so that the shifter will go all the way into 4 positions. Also had to modify the back of the bezel so that the shifter can go a little farther. So now this original OEM 6-speed shifter can go from park to reverse, neutral, drive, which is D4, D3, D2, D1. And they're actually connecting in the right spot on the detent. On the opposite side, I took the position sensor for the parking pin and I moved it over to the reverse side, a reverse part or section of the shifter. So in reverse, that will be activating the micro switch so I can run my camera and backup lights. And this is what it looks like all together. And here's the new Hurst shifter handle, because I can't stand the factory one. So there's park. Let's just zoom out a bit. out. So we got park, then we got reverse, neutral, there's neutral, there's drive, and then D3, which is where I'd be leaving in D3. Sorry, D1, D2, D3, locked out, neutral, reverse, park. Quick update, I have the 4L80 TCM installed. And it's just bolted to the firewall. I have the wires ran, all tucked up nice into the loom, the factory loom. I had to splice the CAN bus, the high-low CAN bus on the ECM, and run the TCM in and out for the CAN bus. I also had to pin out another connector and add a park reverse neutral safety switch, position switch. And I also had to T-joint pin number 18 on the blue-black harness of the ECM, and that is basically accessory wake up. So that'll send signal to wake up the TCM. And then there's two 12 volt, one hot all the time, one key hot that go to the TCM, a ground, and then the actual connectors that hook to the transmission are ran underneath by the front. You can kind of see it right there, just kind of hanging there for now. So everything's all tucked away. Can't really tell. This is all Lingenfelter two-step wiring. But yeah, still got to put my new supercharger on. But yeah, so this is the basically what I drew up, because DSX didn't really have any instructions any longer, because this product, they stopped selling it about 5 years ago. And I bought it secondhand. So this is a M6 to A4 T42 harness adapter. This is for E67 ECM. And basically you have 12 volt constant, 12 volt key on, a ground. Blue, which is T-joint, that's your accessory wake up. So I had to run that blue wire from the harness and tap it into pin number 18 of the black-blue harness, which is that one, which will wake up the TCM. Orange-black, you have to run that orange-black wire, you have to pin it into the black-gray harness, which is that one there, to pin 18, or pin 46. You have to actually add a pin to that connector. Because it's a manual, it was never pinned out from the factory. Also, you have your two highs and your two lows for your CAN bus. So basically it shows, here's the ECM side, there's the BCM side. So ECM side, BCM side, and the TCM gets spliced in between, just like this. Pin 6, pin 7, 37 and 38, this is on the TCM. And they are pin 33 and pin 53. Those are your high-low CAN bus, 10 and 10 in black. So that's all done. That's all wired up. Next thing is gonna be actually installing the transmission itself, putting the torque converter in, getting the transmission in, bolt it all up, and then start working on shifter linkage, make sure that's all good. And then I'm gonna be pulling the front of the car off because I got a cooler I need to install. So I'm gonna start with getting the transmission under the car and getting it bolted up. Torque converters installed in the transmission. I pre-filled it, took about 2 liters, just on the ground, filling it, getting all the air out of it. Put it in, And I got about, from the pad to the bell housing, just over 1 inch, which is pretty much perfect. I know it looks a little more than that, but it's 1 inch. I measured it. So yeah, next step's gonna be wrestling it into place. Okay, update. Transmission is in. Took some wrestling. The cross member's on. Transmission mount is on. That's the energy suspension. The connector's on and clears. It's got some room there. Everything's bolted up. The only thing that isn't bolted up is the torque converter. So I'm just measuring setback and see if I can get a picture of it. This is a 1/8 drill bit. So 1/8 of an inch is recommended. And right there, as you can see, it's just touching. So I got 1/8, just a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch clearance between the torque converter pads and the flywheel. And then I can push it forward right there to bolt it up. So converter setback is good, 1/8 of an inch. So I'm not going to wreck my thrust bearing on the motor or the pump, so everything looks good. So next thing I'm going to do is bolt that up. So shifter is mounted and the new handle's on, but the cover that goes around the shifter is different from the automatic to the standard. This opening is slightly different. So I have an automatic one here from another 5th gen. So what I'm going to do is take my whole gauge cluster and start transferring it all over, and then that should fall right into place. Okay, next thing is to hook up the actual linkage between the transmission and the shifter itself. So I'm going to set it up in neutral on the shifter, and then on the transmission, set it up, hook it up, make sure that everything works. Now this came from the guy bought the drive shaft and all the other parts that I'm using. It's got a tag on it, says V6, so I don't know if this was for the V6 5th gen. It's also written 4L80E, so I'm thinking it was just the factory V6 5th gen Camaro shifter rods, shifter rod. So I'll go underneath the car, hook it up, and see how it fits. Shifter's in. The new auto panel's been installed. I switched all the gauges and switches over from the manual console panel. So shifter's in, reverse, neutral, drive, third, second, first. It's all hooked up to the transmission. Took a little tweaking to get it just right, but it's good now. And if you listen here, I have a micro switch hooked up to reverse, so that'll run the camera and the reverse lights. I have to clean up some wiring for my 2-step because I'm no longer going through a clutch and through the clutch pedal, so gonna do that. But next thing is going to be fitting the drive shaft and running some cooler lines. So it's a time to get to the tranny cooler lines and installing a transmission cooler. I have a 40K cooler by True Cool. So I'm going to start fabbing up some lines going from the transmission in and out of the factory radiator cooler, then to the 40K cooler, back to the diff, and then back to the transmission, because the ZL1 has a diff cooler that the transmission transmission fluid runs through as well to cool the diff. So this is PTFE hose. So this is -6 PTFE hose, and I have a whole bunch of PTFE fittings. So you got the fitting, the olive, and the flare. I also picked up some magnetic jaw pieces for the vise to hold it. So I'm going to start with first fitting off the transmission. I'm going to be running from the front of the transmission into the cooler. So I'm just going to start fabbing hoses and start running lines. So the True Cool 40K cooler is in. Actually fit pretty good right there. Hopefully it doesn't restrict too much flow to anything else. Should be all right. I do run a killer chiller for the supercharger intercooler, so that's okay. That's all out of the way. All the lines are -6 PTFE hoses. So I have it running from the transmission in and out of the factory liquid to rad coolant cooler, out of that, in and out of the True Cool cooler. Then it returns all the way back down the body of the car to the rear diff cooler, which is factory on the ZL1s. Then it returns all the way back to the transmission. So that's the entire loop. So it should add a little bit of volume to the entire system. So now that that's done and out of the way, I'm gonna leave the front end off because it's gonna be easier to put the supercharger on. I'm going to put my drive shaft in. This is a custom built drive shaft for this application for 5th gen. And then I have the rear end adapter as well to flange up. So that'll be next. Okay, drive shaft is in. Fitment's good. Everything looks good. I just marked it there, just kind of as a witness mark, but yeah, everything's good. Looks good. That was a custom built one, so I guess next thing is I'm gonna put the headers back on and run the exhaust. Okay, so here's my headers. These are stainless steel headers, inches 7/8 from American Racing. These I just had coated with what's called a thermal chrome. It's a thermal barrier coating. So they're sandblasted and coated inside and out. So yeah, they look good. I don't know how long they're gonna look good for, but yeah, they're gonna go back on the car. Hopefully that'll help with some of the underhood temperatures, keep them down a little bit. So that's next. So as far as the transmission install goes, it's pretty much done. I have the flexible locking dipstick installed. I put 10 quarts of tranny fluid in, no issues so far. I put the drive shaft on, put the exhaust on, headers, new set of spark plug wires they're in. So I'm pretty much at the point where I need to install the new supercharger. So I'm going to take the tape off and start fitting the valley plate for the new 2650 supercharger. So update on the blower install. So that's all torqued down, lid's all torqued down. I ran all my wires, my map sensor, my inlet pressure sensor. I didn't bother filming it because there's just a ton of little odds and ends and for installing them, cutting these hoses to length. I have both the inlet and return coming up on this side, just because it runs down along here and then returns back to my reservoir tank. So they're just, if I was to run the top two, which are the return right to here, it would just, I would have to wind together and it just would look crappy. So I decided to run them this way and then run a big loop back up here, back to the return on the reservoir tank. So everything's hooked up, fuel lines, everything's all done. All I got to do now is I got to run to the parts store and get a supercharger belt. The one I have is too small. I did go and take the 90 millimeter throttle bot or factory pulley off, and I put a 3-inch grip tech one on as well. So belt sizing was obviously a little different than the LSA. So I'm gonna go pick that up and then hopefully, well, I gotta wait for that to come in, which will be a couple hours. So I'm gonna put the whole front back on her while I'm waiting. Well, that's a wrap for the install. The 4 LEDs in, everything's working. Goes in the park, reverse, neutral, drive, all that stuff. Topped up the transmission fluid. I sent the tune to Derek Dunbar, DD Tech, and he's revising it. Obviously, he's building me a whole new tune because I have a 2650 on now, 1650 injectors, automatic transmission. The whole thing's gonna need to be retuned, so he's working his magic. Couple little things with the install. The LSA Maggie 2650 kit doesn't have the best instructions. It's all for a Cadillac STV. This is not a Cadillac. So plumbing and stuff like that is different on the ZL1. Just some minor stuff, which was a pain in the ass, took a long time. Getting the right belt size, all that stuff takes time. Had, I think, one leak on a cooler fitting, which I tightened it up. Other than that, everything went pretty good with startup. So now it's just a matter of refining the tune and waiting till it's nice out, which will be about a month before I can test drive it and see what it's like. So just gonna do a couple little things. I still have to put my drive shaft loop on. I still have to do a catch can for the transmission, which I have. I still need to do that. Probably in the next video, I'll do all that little sort of thing, but we'll have, this is a look at the install. Turned out pretty nice, pretty clean. All my cooler lines going to the one side. Yeah, turned out pretty decent. Pretty happy with it. Put a Mighty Mouse catch can on. So that's a big improvement over the Elite Engineering one I had, which was -6 fittings, and this is all like -12. So be able to handle it a little better. But yeah, so that's it for the install, and that's it for the video for now. And hopefully next video I'll have, it'll be driving and moving and see what she's like. So as always, thanks for watching. If you like, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.